Hello guys, on today's tutorial we'll be sharing tips and tricks for your Webflow Wized and Xano builds. And the first one, it's about the class naming structure that you have in your Webflow builds. It's super important that you have a clear class naming structure, that you use global classes, combo classes, and in general that you are able to, to construct pages like super quick, to be able to fix styles in your web application easier with global classes or combo classes. So this is a must. If you haven't, started with Wiz, before you even jump into Wiz and Xano, make sure that you are, or you can create clear, good front ends with a good class naming structure. I'm currently using client first, but there are many others that you can use. Second tip, it's super important that you have a good sitemap structure in your Webflow site. What is this for? Mainly to have a simple and easy access control for your users. You might have users that will have access to certain folders, but you might have other users that should not have access to those folders. So it's super important that you have a good folder structure here in order just to make that flow super simple. Third tip, make sure you have a good organization in Wiz. Something that I've been seeing on a lot of projects is that people just build for themselves and they don't think that another developer will be taking on the project. So make sure whenever you build a project in Wiz, you have a clear naming structure for your folder and actions. In the case another developer jumps into the projects, they will understand what is going on. Fourth tip, make sure that you have unique attributes for your Wiz elements. In the case that you will have symbols where you will be reusing the same component on multiple pages, yes, you can definitely reuse the same attributes. But if you have two elements with two different logics, make sure that you don't reuse the same attributes because that could cause issues with Wiz. Fifth tip, make sure that you set up some kind of preloader or skeleton in order to not have any flickering. It's not a proper front-end development if there is some elements flickering for the user while the data is loading. So make sure that you cover all of it with a simple preloader like right here, or you set up some kind of skeletons. I know this is not crucial, but it's important for a good user experience. Sixth tip, make sure that you create a folder in Xano for each user flow. I know that you can create multiple groups of APIs inside one folder, but it's just easier to control everything whenever you have a folder for each user flow. I just made this example right here where I don't have any endpoints, but this is crucial in order to have good organization. And if another person jumps into the project, they will understand pretty clearly what is going on each group. Seventh tip, make sure that you have dynamic API endpoints for your staging and production environment. Every single request that you create in Wiz or any other frontend that will be connecting with your Xano backend should have these two headers, X data source and X branch. And if you are able to achieve this, you will be able to push updates every single time without touching production. It's never a good practice to make updates to a production web application that have real users that could encounter issues while you are pushing those updates. A tip, make sure that you have set up as environment variables your staging base URL and your production base URL. It's super important not only for these scenarios, but in general for API keys, URLs, details that could change down the road where you don't want to be jumping into every single API to change that value. Make sure that those are environment variables. This will keep your updates easy for you, for the client, and this will as well keep the project scalable. Ninth tip, make sure that you leave a description on every single API request in order to keep it simple for people to understand what each API is doing. 10th tip, make sure that you create functions for flows that you will reuse on multiple endpoints, and not only for that, but as well for complex flows that you might reuse in the future. It doesn't need to be something that you will be reusing on every single API endpoint, but that it could be something that you might need to reuse later. So it's just easier to keep it as a function where you can, recreate these complex flows in an instant.